Is this coming through at all? Here we go. Now we got it. Okay, as I mentioned, trying something new today. I got a little bit better mic, and we'll see how this one goes. What else? So yeah, the camera should be basically the same. The microphone is new, and instead of going through my Twitch app on my phone, I'm using OBS Studio, so we'll find out if this is all working well. If it doesn't work out, well, I guess we'll be back to just the phone and the cruddy audio there. What do we have today? Okay, a couple of record-keeping things here. I did create or print out new character sheets for some of my guys, some of my heroes, and we went back and readjusted the hit points on some of them because I was applying negative constitution modifiers to rolled hit points, and you are not supposed to do that on higher than level 1. Constitution modifier applies only at level 1. So the cool thing with dwarves, which was amazing, is that they roll their hit points at advantage. Plus the constitution modifier at level 1, I've actually got pretty close to max hit points for Dendor, which is phenomenal. Dendor is definitely going to be helping out a lot. So that's this. You can see I cut out the character sheets. I wanted to see how this goes. Remember, everything in role-playing games and solo is everything is playing. Just like Geek Gamer says all the time, everything is playing. We're just trying stuff out, see what works for us. Some things might not work, and some things might. So don't get too stuck on too many things. This is all just playing. Nothing really matters that much in the realm of role-playing games. It doesn't matter at all. It's just playing. All right, previously, and actually before we get into the previous, let's go ahead and do some world building. So, world building. Where do we want to start today? Where do we want to start today? Let's see here. We have, I cut down the character sheet so I don't have that little sidebar of notes there. I went ahead and put it in my handy dandy notebook on its own pages, so you can see here that we have notes, and I went ahead and included that on the index down at the bottom in my lovely chicken scratch handwriting. Dendor doesn't have a lot going on as far as notes go. We need to come up with an NPC enemy for Farrand. Sidaros has the priest ally, which is the same as Tyr. So I think we could probably build this guy out just a little bit, just to see what he is like. So this priest ally, let's go ahead and roll to see what the age is. 3 is an adult. So we'll go ahead and grab our trusty pen. So we know this guy is an adult. What about ancestry? We're once again ignoring half-orc and goblin. So we need a d10. A 1, so it is a human. Human alignment. is chaotic. Interesting. Chaotic alignment, and his wealth level is extravagant. Interesting. Extravagant wealth. Let's go ahead and grab some characteristics. And if you're wondering, I'm just using the DM screen for Shadowdark. This part over here has a bunch of NPC characteristics, and it has some naming stuff that we can use if we would like. So I've just been going through this here. We're going to grab our characteristics next, and we'll see what our hero comes up with, or maybe not so much a hero as the chaotic would suggest. So a D8 and a D4. A 4 and a 6 makes him generous. Interesting. So he's chaotic, extravagant wealth, and he's generous. Interesting there. Now, my question is, over on our city map, as you can see here, we have the temple district that has a minor deities chapel and a forbidden shrine. My question is, since this guy is chaotic, is he affiliated with the forbidden shrine? I'm just going to go with a yes-no roll. And I got a 20. Okay. That means that he is extremely, that's like the most yes that you can get. So we'll flip back to our heroes. Under tiers notes, same allies as Sidaros. See entry page 35, or yeah, 55. Page 55. All right. And we asked if he is affiliated. He is affiliated with the Forbidden Shrine. And just for our notes, I'm going to put very yes. Nat 20. That'll just mean, like, remind me later as we're coming back and looking at NPCs. We'll see how this all comes together. Alright, so I did say we could roll for gender if we would like. I suppose odds male, evens female. Okay, so another 6. My dice are on fire today. So we are going to go ahead and say it is a female. So put a little S in front of he for she. So it's an adult human, chaotic in nature, extravagant and generous. She is affiliated with the Forbidden Shrine. Very yes. My handwriting, guys. My handwriting. What else do we got today? Alright, I think that's probably enough. We could come up with a couple other things for this person, but as with all things here in the basement, we're just getting a little taste, a little flavor, and then we will run away. This slow build-up should give us time to think about it and give us time to stew on it. We don't need all of the answers immediately. We can just think about things for a little while. Alright, so last time here in the basement, we had our characters delve into the depths of the cairns. They left that open. They went into the depths of the Golden Brothers and left that open as well. and then they went to the city to sell their gold and carouse a bit, or sell their treasures and carouse a bit. So, what does that mean for our heroes? We'll begin in the city proper. I'm grabbing my tokens here so that we can do some rerolls as needed. Just put those there. And what else do we got? Alright, so our heroes are in Rularn. And Rularn is risky. So I made up these little cards real fast. This is just to remind me that I need to roll a certain amount of times for random encounters. Previous sessions, I basically just ignored how deadly the city is, actually. So the city is risky, so we're going to roll for a random encounter depending on where they go in the city itself. So we're going to have our city on standby. The core rulebook will give us tables to roll on as needed, and we'll see where we go. So they're in Rularn. They're speaking to the person, or they sold items to the person who owns the curio shop, which is in the Artisans District, right here. That's a little bit washed out for you guys. I will try to do a better job at darkening these up so that you can see these a little bit better. I don't want to go too far into it, like move the camera too close, because I like how much you can see through here with the character sheets, yes, no oracle, the dice, all that. All right, so where do we begin now? Just give me one moment. Sorry about the brief delay. I just wanted to throw on my hoodie. It's a little bit cold over here on this nice Thanksgiving day. All right, so we're in Rularn, sold our treasure. Where to begin? Now in this session, I'm a little stuck on where to start, so let's go ahead and go to our trusty, let's move this a little bit, go to our trusty core rulebook, the Artisans Guild, or Artisans District. Artisan District is on page 144, 145. And what we're going to do is, when we're stuck, we're just going to make something happen with the roll. So we have the Artisan District. Let's just get a D percentile. Let's see what pops up as our heroes are going around the city. What do we have? We got a 42. An anvil being lifted by ropes plunges toward a bystander. All right. So for whatever reason, a blacksmith is on a second floor somewhere as we're going through the Artisans District. Like we see these, everybody's kind of meandering around doing their thing in these buildings. And remember, Rularn is half empty. Like whatever happened previously, we don't remember exactly the area around the city. We know that people came to the city. It's half empty, mostly abandoned and falling apart. So as our heroes are wandering through the city, they see this anvil, hear the rope crack, tear, and break, and you hear somebody, look out, and this anvil comes swinging down toward these people. So our heroes, or we'll say Dendor, sees it and is going to rush forward and attempt to tackle the person out of the way. So once again, we are aiming for about a DC 12 in general for a normal difficulty. And we'll see if we succeed or fail. Oh, missed the dice tower there. It's like I've never rolled dice before. 19. He succeeds on, tromping forward and tackles this person to the ground. He's like, I got you. And he just plows right into this guy, tumbles to the ground. This anvil smashes into the ground with a solid thump. And, the crowd is super, immediately clears the area just with gasps of, they almost got hit. And, Dendor gets up and let's see. He says to the individual that he shoved down, he says, are you okay now? And we're going to go with a reaction, and we're going to see how this person how this person is reacting to being saved by Dendor. We got an 8 total. So a little bit suspicious is what this comes across as on the reaction table. And actually, Dendor has a +1, so that's a 9. So it's kind of a neutral response. A neutral response in this case. And so the individual pushes themselves up, and dusts off their clothes, and looks around. Maybe a little bit shaken up. So it's not upset, not super happy, just kind of shaken that they've been rescued from this anvil falling. And he looks around and says, thank you, friend. I appreciate the assist. And he looks down at his, maybe he's torn his doublet or whatever. And Dendor says, oh, I apologize for the damage there. And the man says, oh, it's perfectly fine. Better than an anvil in the head. What's your name? Dendor introduces himself. And the man will introduce himself. Let's go ahead and grab. We're going to assume an adult. And let's find out the ancestry. A 4 is a human. Wealth level, extravagant wealth level. Okay. So, let's see here. Saved a wealthy citizen. All right. So, does this wealthy citizen offer a reward is the question. I'm going to go ahead and roll this with advantage on the yes/no oracle, because I think it's likely in his neutrality he might be a little bit shaken. He might be like, oh, like let me help you, let me offer you something. So we got a 15, which is a yes, but offers reward. All right, so the man says, swing by my house. And he's extravagant, so I bet he lives somewhere near the castle or in the university district. So let's ask, does he live in the castle district? That's a no, but maybe he lives nearby. So maybe we forget the university part and we put the man somewhere between market and castle. I think that would be fantastic. We'll put him in the market district. Maybe he's one of the people behind the black market or the rare and exotic goods. I think that would be interesting. Yeah, maybe we do that. Just trying to think here. Yeah. Is he associated with the rare and exotic goods? Let's find out. A 10 is a twist. Okay, let's find out what the twist is. Let's go ahead and go to our prompts. You can see I'm using the booklet more again, just to keep it kind of a little bit separate. I can still have the prompts in here, but let's find out what the twist is here, shall we? All right, we got a 16 combine 52 combine a sorcery. All right, if you have any ideas on how to make that work in the chat, go ahead and let me know. Combine sorcery. Interesting. Let's go over to our session logs here. Combine sorcery. Interesting. All right, so I'm going to say he's not really associated with either, but perhaps he's a powerful magic user. We'll just kind of go with the obvious move here. I think he's a powerful magic user. I'm just going to put MU. And that's how he got his wealth, is casting spells, probably at a price or for hire, for maybe rich patrons. I think that's acceptable, honestly. And when in doubt, when you're stuck in solo role-playing, just stick with the tropes you know. If you roll a prompt you're not sure on, you can just start with the obvious, and you can kind of add to it as time goes on. So we have this new fella. And how does he introduce himself? Let's go with a couple of d20s. 8 and an 8. We'll call him Brius, maybe, or Brick. Brian? Brian? Is he male or female? Odds male, evens female. He is a male, so we'll call him Brian. Brian the sorcerer. Maybe Brick. Brick. And he says, thank you for rescuing me from the anvil. Swing by my house. It's in the market district, just on the edge of the castle district, and speak to my servant there. And in the meantime, take this, and he will offer a treasure to the party. Now, in this case, we're going to say that it is, let's say it's, is it an article of clothing? Is it an article of clothing? Very no. So, he's going to pull out a dagger, the dagger that he keeps on his person. And he says, for my life, you may have this knife. Little rhyme there. And so he offers a dagger. Now, I'm going to say that, I'm just going to do a little bit of DM fiat here, because our heroes are level 2. We haven't messed with magic items yet at all in our exploration of Shadowdark. So we're going to go over to treasures, and in magic items, we already know that it's a weapon. I'm going to say it's a weapon. And let's see what qualities it has. Let's see. We'll roll 2d6 to see what qualities it has. Let me move some dice out of the way. 4, 5, 6. It has a benefit and a curse. Interesting. Potions, scrolls and wands, utility, weapons. All right. So it has a benefit and a curse. The weapon bonus. Let's see what we got here. Oh. 4, 5, 6, 7. So it is a +1 dagger. Weapon features. Let's go ahead and build this out right here. Offers dagger. It's +1. Weapon features. We'll go ahead and roll this and see what we come up with. A natural tuning. Turns blood to rose petals. Turns blood to rose petals. Now we need a benefit and a curse. Set this guy to the side. Maybe not. Maybe we'll go ahead and use it. Alright, so the weapon benefit and the curse are D12s. Oops, sorry, I knocked my head on the camera there. Sorry if it gives anybody motion sickness. Alright, 3. DC 15 charisma check to command a wild animal within far. And the curse. We don't like curses around here, but you turn into a rat every day at midnight for 1 hour. For 1 hour. Nice. I think that's great. And so the party takes the item with reverence. I'm going to say that this dagger looks very ornate. And maybe it has a... I like that it has like the command animal and then you turn into a rat as well. I think that's fascinating. We're going to say that that's very ornate. Maybe it has like a silver pommel. Maybe the crossguard has like a little rat or something on the, like near the handle, something like that. And maybe the rat is kind of, has like a background of a couple of roses or something on either side of it. So we kind of get an idea of what this knife is going to do. But we have this magical dagger. The question is who's going to take it? Who's going to take it is the big question. I think we're going to want to give it to a rogue, personally. So either Farrand or Tyr. Probably Farrand, I would think. So maybe Tyr will take Farrand's short sword, and Farrand will get the dagger, I think. Something like that. I think that's fine. So we're going to write down short sword. It's a -1, 1d6 -1 for this guy. And then for Farrand, he's got the dagger of the rat. That's going to be a +0 for this guy. 1d4. And yeah, I think that'll do it. Not anything super crazy, but we just wanted to mess with the magic items just for a little bit and see what we can build. And we already have this very thematic dagger, which I think is amazing. So What else do we got today? All right, let's see here. We got our magical dagger. So will our party do anything else, basically, during this time? Like, they've already been carousing. They've already sold all their goods. I don't think they'll do much of anything, so they might head back to their house. And this is another world-building moment that you can take. I'm going to skip it for now. I might do like a short video somewhere else, maybe on YouTube or Rumble, and we will maybe start designing like their house or something that they all stay together in, because they're fairly poor, basically. So they're probably all sharing a small shack somewhere in like the slums or something. I think that that's very likely. So our heroes will go ahead and they go home and rest the night. And they do that. Now, that was probably at least 2 rounds or something. So maybe as they're on their way home in the slums, maybe they have the chance of an encounter. So let's go ahead and roll. They do not have an encounter. They'll go home every 2 hours or so. There's a chance of an encounter. We can see. We can see. We can always ignore it if we don't want to deal with it. It looks like during the first part of the night in their house, they do hear kind of a kerfuffle out in the streets, potentially. So we'll go over to our town cheat sheet that we're making, and we know that there are slums, page 174. All right, let's do a slums encounter. You got to give your heroes a way to grow in this in the world. So we want to start at the bottom, basically. They're trying to make the best out of life, and so we're not super concerned with making them start, like starting them off as very rich. We got a 79. Crazy Davard challenges a PC to a game of drop the boot. All right, so Crazy Davard, we're gonna go ahead and write his name down as well. We have wonderful opportunities here for world building. Crazy Davard wants to play drop the boot. All right, so Crazy Davard comes up, starts knocking on their doors hard, just boom, 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 and he's yelling like, "Hey, let's play drop the boot. It's time for drop the boot." Maybe he's had some too much grog or something tonight. And who will answer the door? We're going to send our most charismatic guy, I think, which is going to be Sidaros. He's going to answer the door. And he says, "Davard, why do you want to play drop the boot at this time of night?" And Davard says, "Night's the best time to play drop the boot. What are you talking about, Sidaros?" "Well, perhaps you should go back home and go to bed." And we'll roll a constitution check to see, or not a constitution, charisma, to see if our hero, Sidaros, can convince Davard to go home without playing this game. Now, we're going to call the DC, normally we would call it 12, but Davard's been drinking, and he is intent on playing drop the boot, so we're going to call that a DC 15 at this point in time. And Sidaros fails, and Davard ropes him into playing this game of drop the boot. Now, we have no idea what drop the boot is. I'm going to assume that it is some form of drinking game of some kind that Davard wants to play. So Sidaros goes out they're playing this drinking game, and it's going to basically be a constitution off, essentially. We're going to boil this down into a roll of constitutions, and there will be consequences if things don't work out. So they, Davard gets the boot, has the alcohol. They start drinking. Orange will be Davard, and the red and gold will be Sidaros. And Sidaros gets a 13, so he's out drinking Davard, which is fantastic. So Sidaros has 1 success, and we're just kind of making things up as we go. So Sidaros has 1 success, Davard has a failure. We're going to call that DC a 12. Now we're going to move that along and set the DC to a 15 now. And Sidaros and Davard are going to start drinking. Now, Davard got a 5, but Sidaros got 11, so both of them fail that difficulty. And now for the final round, we'll keep it at a 15, and we'll see. Ooh, Davard got a natural 20. So 1 success for Sidaros, 1 success for Davard. We'll call this an basically going into overtime, essentially, right? Let's see. Another natural 20 versus Sidaros's natural 1. Sidaros fails, and Davard outdrinks Sidaros. So Davard wins at Drop the Boot. If any of you guys, this would be another interesting world building opportunity, is creating a Drop the Boot. So if you guys have ideas, go ahead and place it in the chat or what have you, and let me know what you think the game of Drop the Boot would look like, because I think that could be interesting. I went the drinking route. It doesn't have to be. I just think that that would kind of match up with crazy Davard. Yeah, let's see. So crazy Davard takes his boot, goes back home, and Sidaros passes out, and he will be either unavailable for the scene with the extravagantly rich Brick, or he will have a harder difficulty. I think that we'll take him along, but we'll give him a harder difficulty on any of the potential checks that we might make during the meeting with Brick. So the next day, our heroes head on out. And Dendor looks and sees Sidaros is struggling and says, "Oh, Davard seems to have gotten the best of you, huh, Sidaros?" And Sidaros responds, "Yes, I'm afraid that that man can hold his liquor much more than I can. Hopefully this doesn't paint a negative picture for our friend Brick as we approach." And our heroes get to Brick's house. They knock on the door, and a servant opens the door, and Sidaros says, "We helped your master Brick, and he told us to come see him personally." The servant looks them over, and he says, "Indeed. Enter." And he just, opens the door and bows slightly. And our heroes will go ahead and enter Brick's abode. Now, this house is probably amazing because Brick is extravagantly wealthy. And so they go in. Our group, maybe not the best in appearance with some of their clothing and armor and whatnot. They might look a bit disheveled, especially poor Sidaros after failing his drinking game with Davard. And so they will go ahead and have a seat in this sort of sitting room that is well appointed. And some servants come through and offer them a little bit of food and drink. And the group will kind of look around this sitting room. And the sitting room itself is very well appointed, very soft couches, and tapestries up on the wall. Now, the question is, does our group notice anything out of the ordinary, or maybe anything particularly interesting might be a better word for that. So I'm going to roll on the yes, no. I think it's likely that there will be something of interest. 12 is a yes. There are things of interest. And we'll say that there's a tapestry that looks like it's been kind of cleaned up, and it perhaps depicts the city of Rularn. And it depicts it in a cleaner or more fresh state, essentially. So instead of all the buildings being run down looking, our heroes perhaps are looking at a historical version of Rularn. And Brick enters the room at that point and says, my friends, thank you for coming to see me. I appreciate that you have taken time out of your day to, one, rescue me yesterday, and two, to talk to me today. Have you had enough food and drink? And the heroes nod, and Dendor says, yes, drink is good, the food is good. Your kitchen must be well appointed. And Sidaros nods along. Farron and Tyr are kind of sitting back and doing their kind of thief thing where they're trying not to be noticed too much. Not doing a lot of talking, they're just along to see what happens next. And let's see here. So Brick says, well, I'm glad you are enjoying yourselves, and I hope you don't mind if I take up a little bit more of your time here today. I have gifted you the dagger for saving my life. I'd like to also give you a bit of gold, and he'll hand each of our heroes. He'll hand them, let's say, how much do we want to call it? I think we'll go 2d6 times 10 gold, because he is extravagantly wealthy, right? Does that seem fair? I think that seems fair. 2d6. Alright, so he hands each one 40 gold. So each hero gets 40 gold pieces, which is pretty phenomenal. That's not bad. Now, he says, you can, of course, take the gold and leave, or you can help me out. And Sidaros is immediately interested. And everybody kind of looks at each other. And Sidaros says, I think that we would be interested in hearing what you have to say at the very least. And Brick nods and he says, I see that you've been admiring my tapestry here. You can see that it depicts Rularn. Care to hazard a guess as to the age of this tapestry? And our heroes will examine it. We'll go ahead and see if they can figure out the age of it. It'll be an intelligence check, I think. Maybe wisdom, but I'm thinking intelligence to examine the tapestry. Got a 13, difficulty 12. We'll say that that's a yes. They did successfully tell the age of it. Now, how old is it is the question. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure that out. I don't know how long a tapestry would last. This is a fantasy world and a solo tabletop role-playing game, so nothing really matters. we'll call it, is it a, let's see, there was a book that kind of took us to the depths of the Golden Brothers. That was about 93 years old. So this tapestry, we're going to say is older, but by how much? By how many years or whatever? Let's start with D percentile. 97. So we're going to say that it's about 90 years older, 97 years older than even that book is. So the tapestry itself, we'll call it about 200 years old. Now, Brick is impressed. And he says, yes, actually, you are correct. I've had a group of adventurers pull this out of a dungeon, or a set of ruins, I should say, about 2 days' march from here. And I'm very interested in the area. As you know, the history of Rularn is a little bit lost. We know that the city can hold twice the capacity that it's currently at. We know that the castle is massive and mostly unexplored. And we know that there's a vast history of Rularn at this point. So I will pay handsomely for any artifact that shows the history of Rularn and, gives us an idea of what's around. Alternatively, I also would like to offer, if you can go about and map the surrounding area of Rularn, I will hire you out, basically, for every, let's call it, we'll just call it essentially every hex. So every 6 miles of territory that you evaluate, explore, and map and bring back to me, I will offer you gold in response. So hire out mapping and artifact finding. So in game terms, I think what we will call this is we will say that the mapping, he'll hire them out at essentially their level worth of treasure. If we go over to the treasure tab, let's see here. Interesting. If we look at the treasures, there's not a ton from what I've seen on what like values that you should provide. Since our gentleman is extravagantly wealthy, he will give them between, let's call it 30 and maybe 80 gold pieces, depending on the difficulty of the mapping and whatnot. And then for intents and purposes, let's see, between 30 and 80. Is that what we decided on? Yeah, 30 and 80. So let's see, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that'll be a d6 roll plus 2 times 10, essentially. So between 30 and 80 gold per hex. And then for the other treasure, we're going to call this basically if they find any kind of artifact, we will just essentially double the gold piece value of it. Not necessarily the experience point value. Double's a little bit steep, but I want to keep the math a little bit easy. I don't want to do a bunch of percentages or anything. So we'll call it double the artifact value. And that is going to be kind of our suggestion here. So Brick is hiring out our heroes to see if he can find out more of the history. And I think we'll call it there. You can see that our city adventures can go quite a ways. It can introduce all kinds of interesting characters and NPCs, and the NPCs can eventually potentially become heroes that we can play, basically. So I will probably put a page for each one in the back of this book, maybe a half page for now. I'm not certain yet. I'll play around with the idea and I'll show you next time. But yeah, so our heroes got a magic item. They got a bag of gold, and the magic item is probably worth 3 experience points, and then a couple of experience points for for the gold that was offered to them by Brick. So we're gonna call that 5 experience points per person. And we'll update their character sheets and everything. But if you have any suggestions on what should happen next time, where they should go, how they should look, maybe they'll start with mapping, or maybe they'll plunder the 2 dungeons that they're already aware of next time, to see if they can find any artifacts within. I doubt that they'll want to go toward the depths of the Golden Brothers, because that is a high-level dungeon at this point, with the mummies running around. So maybe they go back to the cairns to see if they can dig up anything interesting. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching this particular stream or video if you found me somewhere else. Follow me on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, all that good stuff. And if you did appreciate this video, thumbs up it, follow and subscribe, all that gobbledygook. And I appreciate you tuning in. Have a great Thanksgiving today, and I will see you next time.